Welcome back. Well, today we need to discuss a change in YouTube policy regarding child-oriented content, and it's going to have an impact on this channel. It's probably going to have an impact on a lot of channels, and it's worth exploring a little. So we'll get to it when we come back. Okay, so what am I talking about? Well, in January 2020, YouTube is enacting a policy, they've given us a heads up about it, that will dramatically restrict any YouTube videos that are considered to be child-oriented. Now, what is child-oriented? I have to say, the guidelines are very vague, but it's going to impact this channel because one of the criteria for a child-oriented video, and I'm quoting, is a video containing play acting or stories using children's toys. Now, you know that means the hand puppet shows, the little sock puppets. Sock puppets are out, period. Now, I have no way of knowing if what they mean is the 30 to 40 seconds worth of a sock puppet show in this otherwise adult-oriented but family-friendly video is a violation or not, because we don't have guidelines. I am concerned because it will not be humans making the decision. It will be computer algorithms. And I do not trust that a computer algorithm has the sophistication to say, well, this was less than 10% of a 30-minute video, therefore it's not child-oriented, it's merely child-friendly. I don't know. Why would this be a problem? Because if you are found guilty of a violation, the fine is $42,000. So it has to be taken seriously. Now, apparently what happened, and I'm giving you a pieced together story because I really don't feel I have anywhere near all of the facts, and no one is providing this information. But apparently a children's activist group took YouTube or their parent company, Google, to court, won a massive lawsuit, about $170 million, because they alleged that YouTube/Google was collecting information on children and targeting ads toward children. So I'm not sure how they were collecting information on children. I don't know. I have no idea if they were posting videos that encourage children to provide information. I don't know if they were gathering information by backtracking into the computer or smartphone or whatever electronic device the child was using to view the video. That would be very scary if they were doing it, but the technology exists to do that, so I'm not discounting that as a possibility. I don't know what they were doing with the information they may or may not have been getting. It's all very, very vague. But obviously, the impact on my channel is that although we're still going to remain child safe, in other words, not allowing bad language, I'm not allowing anything to go anywhere near the realm of harmful to children. I'm not going to be able to cross over the line and make it actively friendly for children. Apparently not even a little bit, because if the computer algorithm determines that any portion of my video, and I do not know what their criteria is, it could be as little as 0.1% of the video appearing to be directed for children, they will take action, and there is no appeal. That's the other thing. It's not as if I can go to a human and say, oh, come on, this is not a children's video, you can see that. Nope. And my target audience is 0% children. I went in and took a look at the analytics on my programming. 0.0% of my audience is under the age of 25. Now, that doesn't mean that no children watch this channel. I'm sure children do watch this channel. I hear from mothers and grandmothers who tell me children watch this channel. But the children who are watching the channel, as I am getting the information, are watching it in the company of their responsible adult. So in other words, Google or YouTube or some public activism group does not need to be monitoring these children. Their caretakers are monitoring them already. It's either mom or grandma or somebody else who is in a position to judge whether or not this video is appropriate for a child. I have not seen any targeted ads for children. The ads I see, however, may not be the ads you see. Again, the technology exists for YouTube to put one ad on my version of the YouTube channel. In other words, when I go online and I view the channel, I can get one ad. You can go online, you view the channel, you could get a completely different ad. That technology exists, and there's no question about that. I don't know if that's true. But of course, my concern is I'm a video creator. I have zero control over advertising. None of the creators do. This is all in the hands of YouTube. And this is how it works. You post a video, and in my case, I declared my channel going in to be educational. I did that in the hopes of getting you a higher caliber of ad, mostly because I don't like sitting through ridiculous commercials. Why would I want to make you do it? On the other hand, I did see a commercial on my channel the other day. Some guy was throwing shampoo on some other guy's head. And I thought, oh, well, that's not very educational, is it? But it wasn't actually offensive. I have no idea what ads you're getting. I have no control over it. That is entirely in someone else's hands. I upload a video to their server, and that's where my participation in the activity stops cold. Beyond that, YouTube puts the ads in. They determine who the advertisers are. I assume the length of the commercials. Whatever it is one ordinarily decides when one is inserting an ad is done by them, not me. I cannot go to them, for example, and say, I don't want that shampoo guy throwing stuff. I consider that violent. I can't say that. I don't have any control over this. I either allow ads or I do not. It's just that simple. Someone else makes the decision. So I have to say, I'm not clear why the onus of this, the burden, the responsibility is being thrown back on the video creators, because we are creating content. We are not, well, it's so ridiculous to me to assume we post the video, that's where it stops. We can't possibly target ads. Even if we had the technology and the advanced computer programming degrees to do this, we don't have the we don't have the link to do it. We post our video, we break the connection, and then it's somebody else. You're downloading from them, not us. They're over here, we're over there. We are not part of that process. There is no way I can collect data on anybody, whether they're an adult or a child. There is no way I can target an ad to any population. I post to the site and walk away. The rest of this happens after the video is posted and in the hands of YouTube. YouTube is the distributor of the video. So I know, why would somebody think that it would be okay to slam me with a $42,000 fine? I don't know. I have no idea. That is draconian. Okay, word of the day, draconian. There was an Athenian lawgiver, 7th century BC, I think, don't quote me on that, I'm 7th century, I think. And he was credited as the first person to actually write a code of laws. And his name was either Draco or Dracon, and historians are not sure. And his law code was brutal. Petty theft, death. Everything was death. You hit somebody, death. Death, 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 death. And so draconian means, particularly in law, but usually in a response, draconian means severe. So if you have a draconian law, you have a law that is excessively severe. If you have a draconian response to a situation, it's like, boy, your reaction is just so over the top. $42,000 fine for something over which you have no control is, in my opinion, draconian, because that's not a small fine. That is we can plunge you into bankruptcy, we can take away your home fine. Can they do it? They're the government. They can do what they want to do. Will they do it? They're the government. They'll do whatever they please. So, obviously, we have to take this seriously. The impact on this channel is I'm going to have to spend the month of December going back and either editing out puppet shows, or just perhaps if I demonetize the videos, that will take me out of that pool of videos that is being examined by these computer algorithms and not people. I may contact YouTube and find out if older videos are grandfathered in. It would be very nice if I didn't have to do this, because I've only been operating this channel for about 6 months, but I've put up a lot of videos, and it could take a great many hours to carefully go through all of them. And then when I do, here's the next problem. I do not know what is family-friendly as opposed to family-oriented. They're not giving me any guidelines, well, except for that puppet show thing. But I don't know. If I turn on television, which I rarely do because, frankly, I don't even have a television. I don't own one. But if I turn on television today, I'm watching shows that have a premise so ridiculous no adult could ever sit there and watch it. It's like, here's the vampire, and the vampire's boyfriend's a werewolf, and the werewolf's mother is a dragon slayer, and Satan's coming to Thanksgiving dinner. I got to look at that as children's television because it insults the intelligence of any adult I know. On the other hand, the young teenage stars of these shows are hopping in and out of one another's beds like jackrabbits. So it can't be children's shows. So I'm not getting the difference. I don't know. Although, to be perfectly fair, when I was about, I don't know, maybe 8 or 9 years old, the hottest show on television was Bewitched. crazy show about a 400-year-old witch who twitches her nose and people fly and the dog turns into a frog. Children's television show, right? I just said that. On the other hand, Darren walks in from work every night, fires up a cigarette while Sam makes him a drink. Whoa, not so child-friendly anymore. And I'm not even touching on the fact that, the whole premise of that show was a man who was trying to force his wife to be something she isn't, and he hates his mother-in-law. Great family values there. And you wonder why my generation was on drugs. Come on. I don't know the difference. And clearly, as the Bewitched illustration shows, it's never been clear-cut. I don't think any of us really know the difference between child-friendly and child-oriented. And these things are completely subjective. In some households, fantasy programming is not fit for children. They would say, no, that's spooky stuff. I don't want my kids watching it. In other households, they would say, well, that's children's stuff. That's make-believe. I have no idea how I am supposed to make this determination on my own. YouTube's advice was to consult with an attorney. I don't imagine my attorney has much better an idea. Who really does? I am hoping that because my show is about thrifting, and it's next stage thrifting, it's what to do with the stuff after you get it. We've got projects. We've got how to turn it into different things. We use power tools. I hope certainly nobody thinks I'm advocating toddlers with power tools. I am not. That would be really, really messy. No. And I'm certainly not advocating, the 2-year-old crawling into their stroller and wheeling themselves down to the Goodwill and grabbing a little trinket and then, going up to the counter and fishing in their pocket for half a lollipop and 3 SpaghettiOs. It's like, here you go, let me take the trinket, I'm going home. No, it's crazy. Of course, this is not a children's show. But I don't want children to be afraid to watch it. I don't want parents to be afraid to set their child down in front of their tablet or their smartphone or their television or their computer or whatever you're watching this on and say, look, you can watch this because, nobody's going to get killed here and nobody's going to say a bad word and nobody's going to hurt an animal. I consider those, by the way, basic threshold level of child-friendly. I do not know, and no one is giving me the information. What I can say is I'm not going to be able to do anything specifically for the kids. That really makes me sad because I enjoyed that, and I was actively seeking out some child-friendly projects. Can't do it. $42,000 is why I can't do it. If I have a video that somebody determines is mislabeled, they could crucify me with these fines. And they're saying that, you can't appeal YouTube's decision. The FTC would be levying the fine. Maybe I could fight that, but of course there would be fantastic lawyers' fees. So what they have done is they have created such a powerful disincentive that I am not going to even approach what I think that line is. I'm going to give it a very wide berth. That means no child-friendly projects. Any future projects, and there have been times when I've said, get the kids to do this. It's easy. No. We're not going to be getting the kids to do anything anymore, not even taking a drawing on the outside of a plate for making a clock. That was one of the things I said you could get the kids to do. No, we're not doing that anymore. We will not be allowed to. The consequences of someone misinterpreting any kind of activity like that are just too great. So, for those of you who have become accustomed to watching with your kids, please do not think I'm suddenly going to be tossing in 4-letter words just to convince YouTube this isn't a child-friendly station. But I'm not going to be able to put in anything for the kids. I might even have to take the existing material out of older videos. I have the month of December to figure out how I'm going to do that and what I'm going to do. And I don't know yet. I'll sort of deal with that as we go along. Going forward in the future, no. And it breaks my heart because I do know a lot of you have kids. I do know some of the kids really enjoyed things like the puppet show, and they like to see the kitty cat. I don't even know if the cat's going to count as making this, child-oriented. That does trouble me. I know, and I'm sorry. I was about to say if there was a way around it. There is. Of course there's a way around it. I could just say, no, this is crazy. I'm willing to stand up and challenge it. But the thing is, I'm not. And the reason I am not is because the consequences are far too great. I am not willing to run the risk of incurring crippling fines. I'm not. I don't think anyone should have to do that. I'm not even sure why the burden of meeting these regulations is being slammed back on YouTube creators, given the fact that we are not the people that are collecting the data. We are not, and I'm not sure what data they're collecting, or even if they are. That's just what I am understanding to happen. The creators don't have access to any of that. Apparently data is possibly being collected by advertisers, who I don't know, and used for some purpose that I'm not aware of. And certainly I don't condone this. And until this whole thing came about, I wasn't aware that data was being collected on children or anyone for that matter, because I'm a big believer in privacy rights. I mean, yeah, come on, I'm the one who goes into Walmart and says, no, you can't see my receipt, show me your warrant. I believe in privacy. I really do. I do not believe people ought to be poking their face in your business unless they have a very good reason for doing so. And I have a very hard time imagining any advertiser poking their face in the business of a small child. So I'm not really sure where this is all going to lead globally. What is it going to do to the YouTube community in general? I don't know. As I understand it, some of the biggest YouTube channels are specifically targeted toward children. There's children's programming on YouTube. I don't know what's going to happen to the people who are creating that programming. I feel it's unfortunate because I'm sure some of it is very good. I'm sure some parents are very happy to have their children watching creative, different independent programming. I would certainly consider it if I had a small child. I don't know where that's going to go. Don't understand it. I feel sorry for parents who may want to try to keep their children off the internet but don't know how. It's probably a very daunting task. I'm not quite sure who the bad guy is in this situation. One thing I am sure of, it's not me. And consequently, I can't afford to put myself in the firing line. Not when the half dozen videos with sock puppets in it could cost me $250,000. By the way, I don't have $250,000. Just in case you are wondering, no, I do not have $250,000. If the government comes after me for $250,000, they are going to be very sadly disappointed because I don't have it. I'm not sure where this is leading. Where it's leading for this channel, unfortunately, is we're always going to be child safe, always. But we're probably not going to be as child friendly as we have been in the past. And for that, I'm very, very sorry. So that was my unfortunate video, but I wanted you to hear it from me and not just wait until some point in January when everything has to change. I want you to know about it now, especially if you have children, especially if those kids enjoyed the puppet shows, if you were hoping for more. I was hoping for more too. So have a great day. Sorry to have to dump the bad news. You're not just going to be hearing it from me. If you have children and they're watching YouTube, you're going to be hearing this from other content creators too. So, wish it were better news. I will see you all tomorrow.